Three, two, one. London is ready! Are you ready? Join us on the 29th for Bersih 4!
To make people more aware, including the parliamentarians. All of you are quite young, but in October 1947, there was a nationwide strike which paralyzed all of Malaya. It was called the Hartal. Hartal, the general strike. Do you think that that strike might make those people sit up? Because it would paralyze the nations.
You know, Mariam, my own view is after the Bersih rally, and if still there's no change, and people keep trying and trying, and still find no answers, then they're going to take it to the next level. Whether it is by way of a hartal or anything else, they will have to take it to the next level until the government hears the people. So I don't discount any of those possibilities. But you know, Malaysians are peace-loving. We want things to happen the way it should, which is through the parliamentary system. But you're right. I think actually our democracy has been strangled over many years. This is not something that happened in the last 5 or 10 years, okay? It's been going on for a while. And look at the position we're in now. So, yeah, it may be actually. I don't discount that.
Would Bersih call for it? Because
I
people
don't know.
are quite fed up with protests. Well,
Yeah.
From some of the feedback I get, people just think that you've had 1, you've had 2, and you've had 3, and nothing, well, very few of the electoral reforms have been put into action. They are quite desperate.
Yeah.
May a hartal, would Bersih call for one?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that because, as I say, I don't want to speak for Maria. But I think, I know, I've heard this comment, you know, rally after rally, what happens. But you know, sometimes you think that the Bersih rallies may not necessarily have achieved a lot. But some things changed. For example, after Bersih 2, they had the Parliamentary Select Committee on Electoral Reform. That was the first of its kind. But of course, they chucked the report in the bin. I'm not saying they followed everything, right? But some processes take place for what it's worth. It's like a Royal Commission of Inquiry. Everyone says, why do you bother with the Royal Commission of Inquiry? Nothing happens after that. But the process is quite important, actually. The process of the evidence gathering and people speaking up about these things, that's quite important. And I suppose Bersih 3, in a sense, what Bersih has done is, it has raised the awareness of the people. All right? These are the positives about Bersih. Awareness of the people in relation to elections. I think because so much fuss was made about the Election Commission, they had to be a little bit more careful. I'm not saying that they were clean by any stretch of the imagination, but they had to be more sneaky about the whatever steps they needed to take, you know. So they're a bit more watchful. Then Bersih set up an observer after Bersih 3. They set up their own election observers. We came up with a report. We then had a People's Tribunal, and we came up with a report. And I know everyone says, oh, but what is the end result of that? Everything is a process. And the more you keep showing up the EC for all the flaws in the electoral process, all you can hope for is that they're embarrassed enough, perhaps not to do it so overtly the next time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But you know what I mean. It is a process. But I accept people's criticism when they say, okay, rally, you know, how much can you achieve? There are things that you can achieve. And I think this rally is really, because it is also personalized to the Prime Minister, I think it will be a strong statement if enough numbers of people come out, that we're not happy with the way in which this entire financial debacle that we have gone through, you know, we're not happy at the way in which that has been handled. Yeah.
Tsunami of 2008, and 5 states fell to the opposition. I would contend that democracy does work to a limited extent. but obviously not as well as we would like. Do you feel that perhaps that mechanism can work again and give the opposition more gains in GE14? And if so, are the opposition actually fit for governance?
It's a different question. Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, I'll answer you. The second question is something else. But on the first question, my own view is if we had a clean electoral system, the opposition would have won GE13. No doubt in my mind about that. Because when you look at the flaws, and in fact our People's Tribunal, which was an independent tribunal, if you read their report, and I encourage you to do that, they pointed out all the flaws, starting with the malapportionment, gerrymandering, electoral roll, etc., etc. I mean, the RCI in Sabah came to a conclusion, all right, that Project IC did exist, and came to a conclusion that people who should not have received ICs were on the electoral roll. But they've done nothing about it. They've done nothing to correct that. And yet they've gone ahead with the redelineation exercise in Sarawak and so on and so forth. So, for me, that was a flawed election. Our elections have been flawed for a while, okay? So I would say, like in 2008, people asked me the question, oh, they won 5 states. So I said they won 5 states despite the electoral process, all right? Not because of it. And I'm pretty certain they're getting smarter at tweaking it, all right? Because now they realize that after 2008, yeah, there's a real possibility they could lose more. So they're going to tweak it even more for the 14th GE. And the other problem with the 14th GE is the redelineation process that is currently underway. All right, it has started in Sarawak. They're going to use the redelineation process, I can tell you that, to fix boundaries, which will become, which will be in favor of the ruling party. The second question, that the opposition is in disarray, I agree. I totally agree. I think it's tragic. But having said that, I think it's a process they had to go through. Okay, it was a temporary alliance, an alliance built on a common enemy, all right? Those don't necessarily last a very long time because the enemy disappears and then what do you do? So maybe it's a growing up process. The reason I do feel sorry for the opposition is because I think they're very badly treated in our democratic system. The manner in which they're attacked by the party in power, they're arrested, they face a lot. It is really tough being an opposition MP, let me tell you, okay? And another thing, all right, which a lot of people don't realize, is that there are constituency allowances that are given through the Prime Minister's department, but only Barisan Nasional MPs get them. Opposition doesn't get. So there are a lot of ways in which they are sidelined, they are undermined constantly, and as you know, the media and all that doesn't, they're attacked. I don't even have to go there. So in that sense, I'm sympathetic. I am sympathetic to the opposition. I think they have a very, very tough time. And honestly, the way they're attacked during elections, a lot of people would give up. They wouldn't have the stomach to go through that kind of personal attacks, family, this, that, that kind of thing. But the maturity of the Malaysian people, that a lot of those things didn't matter, actually, in the last elections. And don't forget, and this is another achievement of the Bersih rallies, I think, the awareness of the people, the turnout. The turnout is the largest turnout we've ever had. And that's awareness building. And in fact, I remember going to do my voting, and ordinary people were out there standing outside polling centers to make sure they were jagaing the ballot boxes. And these are just ordinary citizens coming, and it happened in Bangsa, if you remember, in Iza's constituency. They were there, guarding the boxes and so on, doing their bit to make our elections better. So in that sense, I suppose that really, although I agree the opposition is a mess, I can only say I hope they get their act together. I have been very irritated also by a lot of things that are said and done. I do speak to them and I do tell them exactly how I feel, and that's the positive thing about the opposition is you can actually tell them what you think, and they do actually listen sometimes, not always, but they do actually listen. So, but yes, they have a lot of work to do, and my own view is it is an absolute tragedy that they haven't got their act together now, because now is the time, now is their moment actually for the opposition to shine, now, but it's not happening. And for me, that's a tragedy, and I really hope they get their act together quickly.